you can for a particular strategy or whatever. And at the end of the day, if it means either you or the CEO can't live with it, then one of you got to go. And I suppose in those circumstances, it's probably more likely you. But that's where I put the but. The but is what's best for the organisation, not the CEO. Organisations don't survive for the benefit of the CEO. And some people have got that wrong, in my view. And there's cases all around the world, okay, which demonstrate it. Think about it. If you're really confident in the proposal, the case you're making, particularly if you're talking about a really important strategic survival of the company or some major change that will bring such great benefit to the company, and the colleagues that you're working with on the management team around you also believe in that, and you fail even with such a compelling case to convince the CEO, there's something wrong. And the chances are, sorry to say, it's probably with the CEO. Maybe he himself is scared of the change. Maybe he feels threatened about your idea because it means he loses control or becomes somehow compromised in the change of the organisation. In such case, you and your colleagues don't do it on your own. With colleagues, you've got to find, because look, everybody in this world has got a boss, even the CEO, unless he's the owner. If he's the owner, well, move on. There's a board of directors and there's a chairman. My view is you have the right. In fact, the company would expect you to take that next move, as dangerous as it may feel. But there'll be some comfort. The comfort would be that you've got your colleagues with you. Do it as a group if you feel that way.
I think I will request, we will have more questions in the networking sessions. We are running out of time. Sir, let's have one. I have a permission.
Zafar?
I have a permission, sir.
Say that, that's one of the reasons why in the recent past we are very strongly trying to promote a board HR committee, so that if the HR committee is constituted, to get another platform to argue your case, make your point. And hopefully in Pakistan it's not mandatory today for boards to have HR committees, but hopefully inshallah it will happen, because we're trying to create some change in the code of corporate governance, which will make an HR committee as essential as an audit committee. And if that happens, which I hope it will,
that's great.
then I think HR people will feel much more strengthened, and you'll have lots more opportunities to make your points. And in a way, it sort of overcomes the issue you were raising.
Great. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Zafar. I think that's right. And at the end of the day, look, you have to, if you were really put to such a situation, I think you have to put your trust in the chairman. And if the chairman is the best buddy of the CEO, well, okay, it may go against you. But often, on boards, what you will know inherently as a management team, that there is going to be a cluster or different clusters of groupings of directors, and chairman. And you'll know instinctively, which cluster to approach. And in such a situation, it's probably better to approach more than one. And I can think of a number of companies, with different shareholdings. But most boards, I think, would appreciate, you doing that. But obviously, you have to be pretty serious. But I recognise it, and I've come across it. And I don't want to put Leslie on the spot, but Leslie, what I said, do you feel that? Do you feel confident that if I was being a real jerk, you could go upstairs?
Yes, in fact, we've experienced this in the past. And we have a compensation committee to which I attend a meeting every quarter. We've had some CEOs that have been easier to work with and some not so easy. However, our access to the board is very open, and we have actually used it. So can't say more than that, but it worked. And what Vince has done is now, since he's come back for a second term as CEO with us, he's opened the access doors even wider. And we now it's not like you're ratting on your management team or your CEO. You actually formally have access in confidence to the chairman of the board and to the chairman of the compensation and the audit committees. And nobody needs to know. You have access, and that's wonderful because it's changed the confidence level. Now, to use that access, you have to be wise, because if you keep using it, you lose credibility with the board. But just knowing that if things were going in a certain direction where the shareholder interest was being impacted, you have the power to make a change.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Leslie.
Thank you.
I think that's really important because this is about transparency, and organisations are difficult to manage. But if you're prepared to work, as a CEO in a transparent organisation, to be transparent yourself, then you have nothing to fear. Nothing to fear at all, except for simple incompetence. I fear that all the time. Okay? But that's a good motivator. I don't want to fail.
Thanks, Venus.
Okay?
Thanks. Thank you very much. You can please have the seat. A great inspirational speech from a leader. It was just a point of view between thinking systematically and systemically, that the bigger picture where it works. Just to share a quick view, there is a survey done in which 70% of the subordinates have mentioned that our boss should not do what he or she is doing presently because he and she can delegate that. So the bigger pictures require this. The next quick episode of this conference is we have added a flavor of a book launch. It's one of the inspiring writers of Pakistan, one of the few I can say. The books are available across Pakistan also. Nutshell has collaborated with them to launch this book. May I request the Chief Inspiring Officer of Possibilities, Mr. Kaisar Abbas, for his Outclass Team book. Sir, please.
Thank you, Yusuf, again. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear audience, Assalamu alaikum. And good morning. I think it's slightly challenging for me to just speak about team building. The reason is that I am basically an experiential guy. And I strongly believe that team building is not about lectures and presentations and speeches. Team building is necessarily about experiencing. So I think let me take the opportunity to create a great experience for you for a moment, where we all become one team for a moment and we experience the power of oneness. So could you please once again stand up for a moment? Thank you. Thank you so much. And this time around, when I say good morning, you don't have to give me such a dull and dry and boring response. Good morning. I think what you can do is this time, that when I say good morning, all of you will say, good morning, with harmony, with synergy, and with a lot of rhythm. So are you ready? 1, 2, 3, friends, good morning. Thank you so much. Give yourself a big hand, but you cannot sit. The next step is slightly challenging. You don't sit, please. The next step is slightly challenging, but this is going to be rewarded as well. This time around, when I say good morning, you will not only say good morning, but you're also going to make a move as if you're trying to accumulate all the energy, and you will see, inshallah, will fill this room with energy, with excitement, with enthusiasm. So you will do a move like good, and the challenging part is that you're supposed to take 2 steps on your left, and many people forget their left and right, right? So you'll take 2 steps on your left, and you will say good and morning, and the best good morning response is going to be rewarded with a complimentary copy of my book. It is worth $23 only, 1955 Pakistani rupees, but somebody is going to get the book. So are you ready? Say yes or yes. Because there is no room for negativity in this room, right? You don't have a choice to say no. So friends, 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Wow, I think this response was the best one.
Thank you.
You get the copy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Give him a big hand. Please sit down. Please have a seat. Please have a seat. Thank you. Ali Kabran, your voice was very loud, but you're a friend of mine, so I didn't give it to you. Before I give you the idea, why did I decide to write the book on team building? The answer lies in one of the stories that deeply inspired me and motivated me. And the story is that the man was sleeping at night, and suddenly an angel comes and wakes him up and says that God has sent to me to show you the difference between heaven and hell. So would you be interested? And the man says, maybe I am the only person in the world who knows the difference between heaven and hell. He says, yes, I am interested. And then the angel takes him to the hell first. And they both enter in a huge banquet hall. And huge number of people around, of course. And the banquet hall contains all kind of food and juices and fruit and all kind of things that you possibly can imagine. But the people around, they're having very, very bad time. Their faces are terrible. And they're crying and they're moaning and groaning. And the man notices that these people, they had braces on their arms, meaning they couldn't bend their arms, so they couldn't feed themselves. So probably that was the reason that these people were crying and moaning and groaning. And then the angel takes him to the heaven, and then they enter in an equally big banquet hall, and a lot of people around. And this room is filled with life, smiles, laughters, and people have shine in their eyes and they have smile on their faces. And the place is amazing. And the man is shocked to notice that these people too had braces on their arms. And they too couldn't bend themselves and they too couldn't eat. But what they were doing was, they were feeding each other. So probably that's the difference between heaven and hell. So dear friends, dear audience, the purpose of writing this book is to support the belief of working together. And if I extend this metaphor to the workplace, probably hell is a workplace where people don't support each other. Despite having all the resources, having all the abundance and richness, people just focus on themselves, too much focus on their own needs, their own requirements, and probably their own limitations. And heaven is a place where, despite all the limitations and problems and challenges, people don't just focus on themselves. They reach out other people and they try to support each other. So the purpose of writing this book is that, again, people focus on building themselves into a team, creating and extending and supporting a culture of teamwork. And there's a big problem with the word working together. The work that I've done with various organizations, I've noticed that people either are working or they are together. So many times I notice that people are together but they don't work. So they have great relations, they have great friendships, they trust each other, they go to Pizza Hut, they enjoy food together, but when it comes to working together, this sense of togetherness is never transferred into some meaningful results for the organization. And the other situation is where people, they do work, but they don't have sense of togetherness. So they have created their own silos and boundaries and what they call the tribes, and they don't communicate with each other, they hate to interact, they don't coordinate. So the basic reason is that we believe in competitions. Right from the beginning, when we were children, when we were in schools and colleges and in universities, we were taught to compete against each other. Why? Because I have to secure the first position. And I'm trying to hide the notes and the books as if they are NASA's very secret files. And when we enter into the organizational environment, we are still in the competitive mode. And we don't try and we don't provide support and help to the fellow team members. My second objective of writing this book is, because everybody talks about teams and everybody understands the significance of building and creating high performance result oriented teams, but hardly there is a simple, easy to follow, understandable method or a process which is also localized.